Hey guys, it's me. It's a little bit dark in my room just because I'm getting back from clinical it's actually 12:08 a.m. On Sunday, but I wanted to just get up a little video just because I haven't talked to you guys in forever, and it's been a couple weeks since I blogged, and it's just been a really busy season of travel, and then when I'm in New York, I'm trying to play catch up from being away and see people here. So definitely a busy season, but all good things, and um, yeah, just trying to catch a rhythm when there really is no rhythm to life. So it's good to be back. I wanted to first just announce a couple of things. So the meal plans that we started, Cody and I launched, Cody made them because she's amazing. At the beginning of March, or actually, we had like some technical difficulties, some details that just needed to be ironed out, but we had already launched them before we realized it, or before I realized it. I'll take full blame for that because I learn everything as I go. But now you'll see, if you click on the meal plans tab on the navigation bar of the blog, it'll lead you to a page that has multiple buttons where you can pick from week 1, week 2, week 3, or week 4. They're all $10, hopefully super cost effective. So we're hoping to keep them at that price. Demand's been really great. Cody puts a ton of work into them, so I hope you guys definitely enjoy them. We're totally open to feedback. Email me or email Cody. I'll get her email and contact information up shortly, but email her with any feedback. We want to cater these to you, so you'll find that once you purchase the meal plan, it will direct you to a download link, and there you go. So you can purchase 1 or 4 all at the same time. And our hope is to continue to add to those. So there might be, 20, 30, 40 meal plans one day. That's our hope. Right now, they're all pretty much plant-based, but we definitely want to expand upon that. We started with that simply because it's really easy to substitute cow's milk for almond milk, or eggs, or chicken instead of chickpeas, or something like that. So I think it's sometimes easier to pull in animal products versus non-animal. So to cater to everyone, we just decided to do that. But send us feedback. Send us things you guys want. We are here to serve you. So that's super exciting. So you can find those. I'm also doing more and more Q&A calls. So if you feel like counseling isn't something you're in need of, but you just have a lot of questions that you want answered based on your individual situation, email me. I'm going to try to revise the Nutshell website. I haven't gotten a chance to redo it, but those are phone calls that I've been doing, and then also RD coaching calls. So if you're an RD, I'm certainly no expert, but I've learned a lot over the past few years just through trial and error. So I'd love to help you along in that. So you can email me with that too. I'm hoping to maybe start seeing new clients again this summer. Who knows what life will look like, but I'm hoping for that. In the meantime, Cody is seeing all new clients now, and that's been awesome. We still collaborate on everyone, every patient, or every client we collaborate on, and I'm still involved with everyone's care. I'm just not the one directly talking to them and seeing them, but she's total gem. So that's kind of just like updates in terms of Nutshell and business. I have about 3 weeks left of this semester, which is nuts. That's so crazy. And then I'll just be a quick 6 months away from graduating and being totally done with school for now. I don't know if there's maybe more schooling down the road for me. Who knows? I would love to maybe be a midwife one day too, or who knows what that will look like. My head wants to get ahead of my what's actually going to be practical in life, because seasons are going to change and life's going to change in the next year, and life's always changing. So we'll see what that brings, but I'm very excited to be wrapping up school, this journey. That's exciting to be feeling like, okay, I'm going to be a provider. That's exciting. So all that to say, this semester wraps up, and for the summer I'll mainly be in a ton of clinical, about working essentially like full-time hours in a clinical setting. So that'll be great. My coursework is really low in terms of actually being in the classroom, which will be awesome. The burden of studying and exams will be drastically decreased. So that's great. This has been one of our heavier academic semesters. So we're taking a course called Diagnosis and Management, which is essentially the bread and butter of being a provider. So lots of information when you're thinking about learning from the day you're born, caring for people from the day they're born to the day they die. in terms of being a family nurse practitioner, but still really exciting and rewarding. So that's great. So I say all of that to lead into, I've gotten a lot of questions and just want to answer a couple of questions about schooling and NP and being an RD. So I know this won't be nutrition related, but I hope it's helpful to some of you. I know there's tons of people that go back to school to be nurse practitioners or physician's assistants. The clinical site I'm at now, which is technically an urgent care center, but it functions like a fast track ER. So unless you're actively dying, we're probably going to see you. Or if you're having a heart attack or something, we have affiliates with hospitals in Brooklyn that we'll refer out to. But we see pretty much anything. So anywhere from just strep throat to more severe things. That IV fluids and hydration and MRIs and CAT scans and everything that we do there. So that's been really cool. I totally just lost my train of thought on that. I have no idea. Sorry, y'all. It's totally lost my train of thought. I had no idea what I was just talking about. So, seeing just a kind of a wide breadth of people. This is where I was going. But all that to say, the whole entire clinic is run by nurse practitioners and PAs. So there's actually no attending on site. That's the beauty of New York, is nurse practitioners practice autonomously. So the guy that runs it is a nurse practitioner. So that's super exciting. And so I think that nurse practitioners and PAs are kind of the way medicine is shifting is that MDs really, at least the way I see it and understand it, is that they're getting pushed way more towards specializing, like becoming surgeons or cardiologists or pulmonologists or whatever that might look like, endocrinologists, people that are absolute experts in this individual field, because the body is obviously so complex. And PAs and NPs are really designed to be in this more primary care role, or more with a broader base of care rather than a specialist. And then we need everyone. So we need specialists, but we also need NPs and PAs. And we need nurses and medical assistants and dietitians and all of that. But the way that I see that is that this is just a booming field. So I think that I'll link to a couple of videos that I did with Andrea Tooley when she asked me just to answer some questions for her on her YouTube channel, just about NPs and PAs and MDs. But I've gotten a lot of questions just my track to be an RD, and then how I came back to school to be an NP and a nurse, and how I decided how I wanted to do that. So I don't blabber on, because I could just chit chat with y'all forever. I took your very traditional route to be a dietitian. So I graduated from high school. I went to Indiana University, as between Indiana University and Miami of Ohio. And I ultimately decided on IU simply through a lot of comfort, to be completely honest. My brother went there. Two of my brothers ran track and cross country for IU. It was an hour from home. It was familiar. I wanted a Big Ten school and to be in a sorority and all that. So I went there, did your typical 4-year course, then I applied for dietetic internships. I applied to 7, and I was matched at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, which I didn't know a lot about. I was super excited about it. I loved the thought of Charlottesville, so I went there. It was not my number one choice. If you're familiar with dietetics, it's really unfortunate how competitive the internships are. I think it's a growing field. A lot of people major in it, and then there's not enough internship positions. So I was super grateful to have a match. I went to University of Virginia, did a year-long dietetic internship, graduated, and so my internship started in September, and I had gotten a job offer in November. I won't go into that story now about how I got the job, but I ended up working for an endocrinologist. He used to be the chief endocrinologist at UVA, and I did a lot of holistic. We essentially, 2 Western trained doctors, so one was an MD endocrinologist and one was a general practitioner, and then it was me, the RD, and together us 3 kind of formed the team. We did a lot of I'll call it like functional and integrative, because we didn't disregard Western medicine at all, but it was way more of a holistic approach. We're trying to get people off medication, doing tons of lifestyle, nutrition, alternative approaches to care, which I loved. I learned an immense amount through that endocrinologist, and it was an amazing experience. It was the catalyst to where I am now in a multitude of ways. So I worked there for almost 2 years. When I first graduated from an internship. Kath, the younger, actually from Kath Eats, she was living in Charlottesville, and she was like, "You should start a private practice." So I was like, "Okay." And so it was really small. Nutshell took about a year to really boom into a full clientele, and then it's continued to just grow and grow, which has been a huge blessing from the Lord. But through Nutshell and then through working at that practice, I started to realize I was very frustrated in my RD practice. I felt really limited. I loved food, but I wanted way more hands-on care. I wanted to be able to comprehensively care for patients, especially women. I was doing a lot with Nutshell and reproductive health and eating disorders, and felt like, one, I wanted more knowledge about diagnostic testing and interpreting lab work and physical assessment and all of those things, and I felt just really limited. I had to be like, well, you maybe should get this test done from your doctor, or go get this, or so I kind of just knew I wanted to go back to school. I questioned medical school, but knew that wasn't the right path for me. I wasn't in a place where I wanted to put that much into school for what I wanted to do in terms of my career. I want to be a mom one day. I want to do all of those things. And then considered PA versus NP, and what pulled me towards NP was ultimately I loved the thought of being a nurse, and I'll link to a couple of blog posts that I wrote about it, but essentially I wanted to be able to practice autonomously, which NPs can do. I loved the holistic approach to the nursing education. So doctors and PAs can also practice in a very holistic way, but I loved the whole patient-centered approach to nursing. So you're looking at the whole patient. It's called the biopsychosocial model. So biological things, psychological things, and sociological things. So you're taking a look at all of that. And that's different than the medical education where doctors are trained to find pathology and all those sorts of things. We need both of them. So that's not to disregard either, but the nursing education just really resonated with me. That's what pulled me towards nursing. And nurses can practice autonomously. They don't have to practice underneath a doctor's license, which is what physician's assistants have to do. So that's what kind of pulled me towards there. I looked at a ton of accelerated BSN programs. I looked at combined programs of BSN and MSN, lots of things. I looked at going to UVA for a BSN, taking a year off and working, and then applying to their MSN program. But what ultimately I decided to do was it's called an entry to practice program. Now this has changed since I entered school. Now they're changing it to where the DNP is going to now become the terminal degree in nursing. So you have to have a doctorate in nursing practice to practice as a nurse practitioner. But when we entered, it's still an MS and a master's of nursing to practice as a nurse practitioner. So I did an entry to practice program. Essentially, it's a combined seamless program to where you get a BSN, a bachelor's in nursing, and then you seamlessly transition into the master's in nursing program. Now, what I love about Columbia is that there was opportunity to break after your BSN year, to where some of my friends have decided to work for a year as nurses, and then they're going to come back and do their master's degree. So we did 12 months. I did a BSN. I did 60 credits in 12 months. It was very intense. It was all immersive. It was 5 days a week. It was a lot, but it was exciting and doable, and so I did that from May 2014 to May 2015. And then I started the MSN program right in June and sat for the NCLEX in August. So I was already in coursework for my FNP, my family nurse practitioner degree, before I became a nurse. And then I became a nurse last August. I work as part-time as an IV infusion nurse, so I do IV infusions, so which is great. And I do that. So I'm not working inpatient on like a med surg floor or something. That just I would love to do that, but there's no way that I could still do Nutshell and work full time and be a full time nurse practitioner student. So the part time IV infusion nurse stuff works great. So that's what that looks like. And then you seamlessly transition into your master's degree. So I didn't reapply to Columbia, nothing like that. I seamlessly transitioned into the family nurse practitioner program. Now that's like my specialty. You can also be a pediatric nurse practitioner. You can be a midwife and deliver babies. You can be an acute care nurse practitioner. There's different specialties that you can do that then qualify for you for what your scope of practice will be. I chose to be a family nurse practitioner because that was going to give me the largest breadth of knowledge. As it's a primary care specialty, but you see family nurse practitioners actually working in ERs and even on some inpatient units. You're not going to find them in the ICU or in the operating room, but you do find them in the acute care setting. So I just loved it was the most marketable. It gave me the most opportunity, and I loved that. So that's why I chose being a family nurse practitioner. You can also specialize and just be a women's health nurse practitioner. I thought about that. I thought about Emory's program, which is an FNP and a midwifery degree combined. I actually almost transferred out of Columbia to do that program. It's a whole nother story that I might tell one day, but I almost left New York this time last year, but decided to stay for a lot of reasons, which I'm so glad that I did. So anyways, that's what that kind of looks like. Other options to be going back to school if you've already had a career, or ABSN programs, accelerated bachelor's in nursing programs. You can then take a year off and work and then go get an MSN, or the entry to practice program, which is the BSN meets the MSN. Some entry to practice programs are just getting an RN. You don't get a BSN. You become a nurse, but it's an associate's degree. I knew that was not what I wanted, just because if I'm going to go to school for a year, I'm going to get a bachelor's in science, just in case I do want to do bedside nursing. I don't know what that might look like or when I would even do that, because I will be a nurse practitioner, but I just wanted the bachelor's degree in nursing. So I hope that puts a ton of information in a little bit. I'm not very familiar with non-traditional routes to be a dietitian, simply because I did the traditional route. But I will say, if you were going back to school to be a dietitian after you already have a career, I would say think long and hard about doing that, because it's not an easy return to school. There's a lot of didactic work. Then you have to apply for internships that are extremely competitive. And it's not like you're getting out of school and you're making a super lucrative salary. I mean, you certainly can. Private practice is obviously kind of the way to go in that realm. But you have to, I think, if you want to go back to school to be a dietitian, that has to be kind of what you want to do, is to be a dietitian. So if you guys have more specific questions about that, I've been blabbering on for 17 minutes. So definitely email me, but I will say I get emails about people who want to know about different dietetic programs and non-traditional routes, and I'm just not the expert in that. I don't know all the options, but I'm sure an admissions counselor or a guidance counselor at a university would. But I am more familiar on non-traditional routes into nursing. So my hope is when I graduate to combine the RD with my FNP. It was never my intent to stop practicing in the RD realm. Plan on keeping up my license and all that stuff, which I'm super excited about. So yeah. So I'm hoping that, in 9 months I could say that I'm a dietitian, a nurse, and a nurse practitioner. So that's the hope. I'm gonna leave you guys with that. Email me if you have more questions about that. Email me with feedback about meal plans, any questions you guys also want answered on the blog, content you guys want me to write about, all of that. I'm always open to all of that. So I'm hoping that once the semester wraps up in about 3 weeks, that I'll be able to kind of dive into continuing to do the business more, but it's been kind of a wild season. So I'm just thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for you guys sticking with me and continuing to read and all of that. So it's exciting. So Nick and I are going to a friend's wedding in Laguna Beach. A couple friends of ours that live in New York, but they're from California. So Nick's actually in the wedding, but we're flying out on Wednesday to Laguna, and we'll be there until Monday. So that's going to be really exciting. I promise I do work, and I'm still in school full time and all of that. I just have very, very grateful to be able to take work and school with me wherever I go. So busy travel season, but I hope you guys are having a great spring and a great weekend, and you're ready for the week ahead. All right, guys, I'll talk soon. Bye-bye.